Lucian, this is the epiphany which Melanthios the Great received within his cavern, and the epiphany on which Melanthios built his temple. While in its conquests, the temple of the Triarchy has sanctioned many deeds, practices, and divines as laying inside its orthodoxy. Many more have been branded as Moonan abomination, with their priests slain, their texts burned, and their practices suppressed. From Phineas the Younger's Creeds of the Known World, Book 2, Chapter 5. He stopped for a corpse cart and its rider, surrounded by cliffs of plaster and clay. Flies circled them in the hot, wet air, and in them, stagnation. Otis. Pale fringes hanged wantonly from the cart over the colored cobbles, stained by rivulets of red and green and gold from the nearby dye-works. They met on Lucian's sandals in streaks of blood brown, the color of uncertainty and failure. "Milord!" A hand pulled him back, striking Lucian from his thoughts. "What?" Lucian turned to Sator as the wagon went on its way. "I was telling you to step back," Sator warned. "'Tis a bad thing to linger on the dead." Right. The word was bitter. Lucian took a deep breath, only to retch at the brack of paint and piss. "Trouble?" He must have seen my face. "Nothing," Lucian replied. "Let's keep going." "Gladly, Otis." Sator nodded and continued leading them south. Nothing. The lie made Lucian's stomach turn. 10 whole days, and he had barely accustomed himself to the northern side of Fair Calais, full of marble and limestone. Here, though, south of the river, the city was scarcely stucco, as if all that gleamed and glistened had been requisitioned for its few majesties: the alabastron, the temple of the Triarchy, the arena known simply as the Maw, and its sister, the Gullet. "Shouldn't we follow the river?" Lucian asked as they turned from the district called Dyer's Way, deeper into the twisting labyrinth of brick and wood. "'Tis faster, Otis," Sator shrugged, "unless hopping docks pleases you. But we can always head back, see some other thing." "No," Lucian winced, his actor's name bitter. "I will see this lead through." "Our only," whispered that part of him as some bell clanged in the distance, 1,000 souls in it. "His name was Cathanes," it reminded him. "Cathanes." Lucian turned to his guide. "The Kennel Hound, was it?" "Kennel House, my lord," Sator corrected him. Kennel House. Lucian swirled the word around his mouth. Yet another thing to remember. It had been pleasant once, but now there were so many, like his half-remembered dream the night prior. Names, customs, deeds. Bricks. Lucian scowled. Claggy, uneven bricks, and each could be pointed at his head. Ammon Knox, Emperor's Brow, and Commander of the Couriers. He repeated the names to himself, the few he had been given. Lord Cathar Hrax, Desirer of the Magister of Infantry. Lord Alvinus Poch, Lord Ovidius Siveth. Then came the others. The masked man who was at the burning. Lord Titus Hygathon and his connections to the temple. The red-haired serving woman. Chances were one of them wanted Edmund dead, after Uther's murder, or because they suspected him of it. But which? Every window, every doorway, storefront, alleyway, rooftop, each was an eye staring down at him. This was their only lead, yet one that lacked the why. Why kill the crown prince? Why leave a pair of conspicuously dyed and embroidered kerchiefs in his and Edmund's chambers, ones that had led Lucian here? Were they nothing but red cows? Distractions, while the true culprit evaded sight. Even if they weren't, Lucian still felt they were stumbling around in the dark, inching along a wall marred by bloody handprints. Turning again, Sator and Lucian were met with a red. "Where the lily speaks," Sator read aloud the rust-colored graffiti. "Ducalos barks. Ta!" "What's the lily?" Lucian turned to him. "Who, my lord?" Sator grinned. "She's a dancer. Well, actress. Beautiful, I hear, though seeing her at all is worth half the price." "What kind of beauty has she?" That rivaling the twin gods, he smiled, and just as active, I hear. Pardon? When not performing for the beautiful and good, the lily models for the city's richest. Sador smirked. Oh, they say it's just to inspire the brush's strokes, but we all know they're stroking something other than a brush. That is, unless the rumors are true that the lily prefers wives to their husbands. Lucien was silent for a time. And the temple permits her, as they permit the brothels and gambling houses, Sator shrugged. Or mayhaps the fear of 10,000 ducaloi on their doorsteps makes them reconsider. If men guide the temple, and passions guide men, and the lily guides those, then the lily is a temple of her own, one where thousands sacrifice their unborn. Lucien blinked, until the word's meaning struck him. Let's keep moving, he muttered. When will this city cease its surprises? Even his guide was one. Sator, if that was his Lucien to Lucien's Otis. He was unassuming, thin, both eyes and ears that missed little. And even then he found nothing on egg in hand. Not 3 days into his stay, Lucien had dispatched his nose to find whatever he could about the master of the imperial household, and while he was gone, Lucien's search had led them here, the kennel house. It was a patchwork building, and large, in some places wood, in most stucco, in some plain brick where the latter had chipped away. 3 guarded its doors, 2 twice Lucien's age, and 1 not even half, each bearing heavy rods capped with iron. Sator eyed their expressions, grim and determined. Mayhaps we should return another day. No, Lucien snapped. If not now, when? This will be easy. Like hearing petitioners, he tried to reassure himself. A mid-morning's greeting to you. The smile took effort. May we enter this establishment? Who's this? The elder turned to Sator, then Lucien, lips curled. Sir Otis, Lucien recited, we're here for the inventories. On whose authority? Origin's Hall. Lucien brought forth a parchment bearing the royal palace's seal. The eldest smirked. Quite the game you're running. Right this way, then, my lord. Inside the warehouse was dim, as if shamed by its own contents. Hundreds of shelves peered down at them, watching from wooden barrels, canvas sacks, and thousands of clay amphorae. It reminded him of the chasm, and a half-remembered dream that even now eluded him. Is something the matter? To his left, Sator's face was stone. Did they know you or something? Nay, Sator gulped. Those lot were rat stranglers. I never had business with them. Lucien wrinkled his nose. What do they do? Much, my lord, Sator sniffed. As they do wish. Someone wants your knees broke, you hire the rat stranglers. I see, Lucien nodded. Who leads them? They call him One-Eye. Sator's voice lowered. Who he is, none can say. Some have it he was the disowned son of the old Lord Creor. Others say he killed him and took his place. Either way, the Stranglers and the Creori have an understanding, 'cause their crews don't harm them, and them crews don't go after theirs. Lucien frowned. Where I'm from, nobles aren't permitted to have their own private gangs. Sure they are, Sator grinned. You call the best of them knights, and as lord of all Ardonia, I bet you've the biggest crew around. Lucien was silent for a time. Where's the owner? Sator pointed ahead. Might want to ask her. Out of the dim came a woman of 50, with spines of grey in her hair. Though short and a bit portly, her features were a butcher's envy. Welcome to the kennel house, my lord. Her kiss pricked Lucien's hand. How may I serve you? And so it begins. Curious establishment you have here. Lucien pretended to look around. Tell to me how its name came about. And you yours, she smiled. My lord? Sir Otis. Again the name was thick on Lucien's tongue. That is Sator, my associate. And you? The operator, she replied. And your role being? I operate. Lucien nodded, some petitioner. His Highness Prince Edmund has ordered us to take the storehouse's census. My lord, the operator smirked. The census was last month. Devoured your stores so soon? Hardly. Well, that's a downright shame, she shrugged. What really brings you here? You never answered my lord's question, Sator growled. Ah, that. The operator's smile fell. Well, when this storehouse was first built, a pair of dogs supplied it, and so this became their kennel house. Then, Lucien interjected, as a keeper of dogs, you must care when they go missing. Go on. Madam, Lucien cleared his throat. It is known that, day or night, Calends or Ides, all fair Calais saffron moves at some point through these doors, whether to the Lord's high table or any other place. Some, however, whisper that your counts— I don't do the counts, she snapped. If, my lord, you request my ledgers, then I'm afraid you'll have to come later. My associate is ill, and his shorthand is quite the trouble. We're not here for the counts, Lucien insisted, as some thought toyed at the back of his mind. Then what are you here for? Straight answers, for one, Lucien snapped. Information. Information, spat the operator. Is that what you call it now? Want to know where my silver is? Extra amphorae that don't exist? Oh, but they do, you'll say. I'm an honest woman. Would you make a monster of me and then threaten to have me slain? No! Lucien sighed deeply. We just need names. Buyers' names. Other details too, if you can. If the choice were mine— Never mind. Just that you would be granted your due given the treasures passing through these cavernous halls. The operator paused. So you've met my kind before? Not a few times, Lucien admitted, though they sold lavender, not spice, and kept fields, not storehouses. In that case, the operator ran a thumb across her lips. Mayhaps I can serve you and this— She pointed to Sator. Friend. Lucien paused. He's my friend. I see. The operator pointed past a row of dimly lit shelves. We have our offices that-a-ways. One of mine will help your friend get the lists. As she spoke, one of the storehouse workers approached to shepherd Sator away. Aren't they hot? Lucien wondered as he watched the two depart, Sator in his tunic and the worker in their heavy cloak. Then they turned, and Lucien found two green eyes staring back at him, crowning a strangely familiar face. Then the moment passed, and they were gone. The operator beckoned Lucien. Come with me. The saffron's this-a-ways. What followed was a labyrinth of dim shelves and dimmer aisles, each tight as the coils of a snake. We're only one of several tenants here, she explained as they went. Everything's jumbled together, but both what and who owns it. Why? Lucien asked. Habit. She pointed to a pair of amphorae above their heads. Everything's in script besides, but I can tell by the tag at least that those aren't ours. Lucien's eyes widened. And you just let this stay this way? Take too long to fix, she shrugged. Too many people, and they're probably just lackey to someone else, up and up to only the goddess knows where. The operator stopped, cleared her throat, and they continued on. So you don't even know who owns this building then? It doesn't really matter. Lord Creor, probably. Either way, we hold the lion's share of spice permits in the city, and they won't be handing out more regardless. How do you prevent theft? Again, it's all jumbled. Everyone's got their own systems. She pointed to another jar. That one probably holds grain, though. Our advantage is that we tend to deal with smaller things. Dried fruit, herbs, resins, spices. Wheels within wheels, Lucien muttered, finally realizing just how hopeless their task might be. And this is the only saffron entering the city? As if by instinct, his hand found the stolen amulet around his neck. The only legal ones, yes. At that, Lucien's heart sank further. And we're here. It was a shelf like any other, with 100 clay eyes staring down at them. Taking a jar off the shelf, the operator lifted it to her nose before handing it to Lucien. It just smells like earth, he said after sniffing it. Are you sure? She smiled coyly. Lucien sighed. Again the smell was clay, until from beneath it came the faintest whisper of saffron, though it might have been just his imagination. Why need you the names, my lord? She asked as he handed back the jar. Names, amounts, and descriptions, Lucien corrected. Origins Hall hears some of your dogs have gone astray, and with them it's due. And I will reiterate that I know nothing of the sort. The operator returned the jar to its place. Each of our wards remains counted and sealed, and when unsealed, I am always present to measure. Besides, if we let a 12th loose here or there, the counts would say nothing, and if you insisted we had a second ledger, I would deny it. Will you keep refusing me? He snapped. Like you, I have my own vows to keep. Let me keep mine, and I will let you keep yours. I will stop refusing you, she answered, when you stop lying about why you're here. My lord. Lucien was silent for a time. I have to tell her. Buyers, he finally admitted. We need which dye works you sell to, and how each specializes. Beside that, what new clients you have, who they are, and whom they serve. All things your man may find, the operator confessed. But then why are you with me? You're the one who led me here, Lucien exclaimed. So I did, she frowned. And yet, you still refuse to tell me why. This is why. Fumbling, Lucien brought forth a small parchment bearing the mark of an arrowhead-pierced circle. A silk kerchief was found bearing this mark. Does it mean anything to you? Me? The operator took the parchment. Slowly, a grin crept across her face. Why, a knot formed in Lucien's stomach. Does it? Mayhaps I've seen it. She turned it around. If the god favors me, it was a man, large, who buys spice on the third measure. He wore its like once, maybe twice. The knot in Lucien's stomach grew tighter. After all that doubt, was this just it? Who was he? Who did he work for? A frog might know, the operator shrugged. But you might as well ask me the difference between ducks and geese. A frog? Lucien's eyebrows narrowed. A pseudonym? Exactly, she shrugged. Might have been the temple? No, they've got their own people. Regardless, he said the spices, saffron included, were for divine ecstasy, whatever that means. That'll be in the ledger. But you said the ledger was encoded, Lucien protested. Did I? She grinned. Regardless, that man, your man, perhaps, buys in small amounts. Only started a little while ago, too. My man. Lucien's throat ran dry. This was it. It had to be. And yet it wasn't. Something was eluding him. Does he have a name? Kappa? She furrowed her brow. No. Capra, was it? It'll be in the ledger. Either way, he hasn't shown in over a turn of the red moon. 30 days. Lucien nodded as he looked around. Did he? The words caught in Lucien's throat. At the aisle's edge was a stair leading below the earth. Pitch, save for a pair of yellow eyes staring back at him from the deep. At their sight, something in Lucien broke, as he finally recalled the dream which had gnawed at him since the morning. It had been in the chasm of the crypt, and the form of something staring back at him from the dark. Something with lion's head and serpent's voice. When he looked back, the thing was gone. Did he what? Asked the operator. Nothing. Lucien again looked away, only for the eyes to remain gone at his return. Where does that lead? Oh, there? The operator pointed to the stair. Under the river. Lucien continued staring into the deep. The river? Of course, my lord, she chuckled. What, do you think 3 measly bridges and some ferries keep fair Calais afloat? The city's old, but its foundations are older, and tunnels like that undercut half of it. Catacombs, old cellars, and things I dare not repeat. I wouldn't be surprised if a few even opened up beneath your Origins Hall. My lord? Her words made Lucien's head spin. Layers upon layers, and just when he thought it was solved, an entire city beneath fair Calais, leading anywhere and everywhere, home to anyone and anything. Just don't go down there alone. She stood beside him, staring into the dark. There's more than plenty like you or I down there, but there's the city's worst and best too, and you wouldn't know which is which until it's too late. At her words, the darkness seemed to swell up from the stair, widening until it threatened to swallow them whole. Would this Capra use these tunnels then? Lucien's eyes remained fixed on the dark. If you find him a man of ill repute. I never said he was. She led him away from the stair. But, my lord, there is one I'd advise against going down there with. Lucien stole one last glance as they left. And that being? Your man, she replied. Sator, if that's the name he wears today. Do not trust him. The stolen pendant weighed against Lucian's neck. Why not? To change a name, one can understand, she replied. But to hide one, that's a man with reputation. Of what? Again the shelves seemed to close in on him. I hope you never learn. Suddenly they were back at the front. Sator was waiting for them. Ready, my lord? He rose, a dowled scroll in his hand. Can you trust him? That part of him whispered as their gazes met. Outside the world had hardly changed, but Lucien walked quickly, away from the kennel house and that staircase into the unknown. 'Twasn't much, my lord. Sator tried to keep pace. Names and dates, little else. A full copy? Can you really trust him? He already knows too much. For the most part, aye. Good. Lucien kept walking. That woman, she gave us a man, one who matches our type, with a symbol on his cloak. And did that man have a name? Capra, or Kappa. Lucien didn't meet his gaze. He said he needed the spices for divine ecstasy. But do you know for sure? Sator insisted. She might have gotten the symbol wrong. Misremembered something. No, Lucien snapped. She spoke true. I know it. And if this Capra is our man, I'll... Something caught the corner of Lucian's eye. It was a man, large of frame, with an officer's cloak about his shoulders and a cavalry mask over his face. In his arms was a small box. You! Lucien turned to face him. The masked man raised his arm in a mocking salute. Give that to me. Lucien snatched the scroll from Sator. I need to take care of this. What about me, my lord? Sator asked as Lucien began approaching the masked man. Find me later. No sooner had he said it than the masked man turned and began running down the street, box in tow. Wait! Lucien yelled as he stuffed the scroll into his satchel. When the man ducked behind a corner, Lucien followed suit, only to crash into someone. Forgive me, Lucien apologized as he got up and continued running. Spying on me. Lucian's mind raced with his feet. Just as he spied on us during that burning. Divine ecstasy, the Inquisition, stained saffron, the symbol. Lucien turned right. Soon they began nearing the bridge connecting Dyer's Way to the market bearing its name. Either way, Lucien panted. If he's in it or against it, he knows something, and whatever it is, that box might be it. Lucien was fast, but the man was faster. After the bridge, the two of them cut briefly into the market, then right again. Even so, he wasn't fast enough to lose Lucien, not until he turned left, then right, then left again, and a sudden crowd blocked Lucien's view. Let me through! Lucien shouted, only to be rebuffed by a wall of bodies. In the distance he saw the masked man turn, salute him again, then disappear into an alleyway. Lucien cursed, and looked down and saw what the crowd had gathered around. It was a man, once a man, slumped against a wall. He would have been sleeping, save for the gash across his throat. The flies were already at the man's neck, and another was trying to pry the shoes off his feet. Quit your whining! The beggar snapped at the protest of onlookers. They don't have shoes in the land of the dead. Who is this? Lucien turned to another onlooker, only to notice something by his foot. It was the box. He must have dropped it. Without waiting for a response, Lucien picked up the parcel. As the crowd of onlookers swelled, Lucien turned one last time to the hour-old corpse and the man trying to pry off its sandals. May the Prince of Beasts have this city. He walked in the shadow of possibilities. The corpse was a coincidence. It had to be. But the masked man, he was following us. But how long? Divine ecstasy. He has to be with the Inquisition. But if so, why run away? The stair. Catacombs under the city. Purchases made by a man named Capra. A symbol connecting it all. A box, its contents unknown. Not dyed in embroidered cloth. Only one lead, yet so much. But how? The realization struck Lucien as he finally returned to his apartments. The masked man. Lucien took a seat at his table. Capra, the box, bricks, all of them. Pavement stones. His eyes found the box. Whoever the masked man was, he had wanted Lucien to find this, to see what lurked within. I step on a path laid by another. With shaking hands, Lucien removed the lid. Inside was a silver fibula in the shape of a snake, one whose pin was stained with something Lucien knew all too well to be blood. Next to it was a parchment, tied shut with a small, dark yellow ribbon whose color gave him pause. As his heart began beating faster, Lucien undid the ribbon, unfurled the parchment, and began to read the flaky brown letters. A whisper lurks on the tongues of fair Calais, one cast out to sea long ago, now drifted back ashore, bloated, full of flesh worms, and yet alive. They call it a great idea, one whose worms will poison the empire, or hand its works to the unworthy. The house of the Great Mother, whose color is saffron, by the hand of Ordinator Serapis. A great idea. Lucien released his grip as the parchment snapped back into a spiral. The house of the Great Mother. The Great House. The words froze on his tongue, the same he had heard the day he had come to fair Calais, from the mouths of the damned. The Great House, he repeated, a whisper hidden in the city, subversion against Origen's Hall and the Temple, the murder of Uther, Saffron, Serapis, the masked man, Capra, the symbol, divine ecstasy. The realization was thunder in Lucien's mind. Turning, he picked up the yellow ribbon and ran it through his fingers. A thought half formed in his mind, until it was plucked by a rap at his chamber door. Carefully, he hid the box and its contents in a drawer and a dagger behind his tunic. You! On the other side of the door was a woman in servant's grey, with two cat-green eyes between rivulets of red hair. Surprise behooves you not, Lucien Marula, she smirked. Don't tell me you thought I was a mere spectre. May I enter? Lucien nodded hastily and closed the door behind her. What a wondrous place. The serving woman ran her hand along the table. But does it suit you? Who are you? Lucien held his back to the wall. How did you know I was here? Me? She laughed. I'm just a serving girl, my lord. Your name, Lucien insisted, eyes quickly flitting from her face to the table and back. Carmina, if it please you, she curtsied. My lord Lucien. Carmina. The name was pleasant to his ears. What are you doing here? No niceties. Her eyes gleamed. And last time you were so excited to see me. Lucien gulped. Last time we spoke you had a razor to my throat. As I said, she took a step towards him. But remember my whisper. If they wished for your death, you would have long afore drank the salted waters of the other world. Who are they? Lucien's breath grew short. The ones you serve. Our common blood, she murmured. From the masses cold in the shadow of Origen's Hall to those beating down on them with hesitant arms. Her hand found his heart, just below his stolen necklace. But this here, will it do what it must, when it learns who slew our prince? Her lips were red, the color of eternity. Wouldn't you like to? She whispered, guiding his to hers. The kiss was slow, questioning, then deepened as she wrapped her arms around him and he his around her. Then she pulled away, leaving Lucien breathless. Or, she smirked, will your list of names be that of the damned? What? How did... Lucien's eyes went wide. You! It was you! In the cloak, the storehouse. You've been following me this entire time. That's how you knew I was here. What can I say? Carmina chuckled. Bodyguard besides. I was half expecting you to pull me aside then and there. But this is better. More private. You're with them. Lucien unsheathed his blade and pointed it at her heart. With whom? Her eyes never strayed from his. And if you're going to kill me, I suggest otherwise. I'll get all over your clothes. With the great house, Lucien exclaimed. The house of the Great Mother. You're the one who killed the prince. Part of him expected her to laugh. Instead, Carmina cocked her head to the side. What are you talking about? What? What? Silence passed between them. You, Lucien began warily, don't know what I'm talking about. I haven't the faintest idea, Carmina confessed. House of the Great Mother? Who are they? Where did you hear about them? Does she know? Lucien tried to keep his eyes on hers. Carmina glanced at the knife. Will you mind putting that thing down? Once you tell me who you work for. Carmina sighed. I'm a courier. Only one who serves a lord other than Nox. A common spy. Lucien slowly returned the blade to its sheath. Which? Carmina's laugh tickled his ears. An easy enough thing to guess. And then leave my thoughts known? Lucien questioned. Hygathon? Or she Scyvath's? Wise indeed. Carmina put her hands behind her back. But, my lord, if I may, we are of a piece. We both seek the prince's murderer, albeit for different masters. You want an alliance? Lucien tried to make out her expression. My information for yours, after I just threatened to kill you. Yes, and all subsequent things, she smirked, to be offered in turn. Lucien's mouth went dry, the remnants of her kiss still tickling against his lips. You first. On the contrary. Lucien gritted his teeth. All right. Then tell me why I was at the docks today. Saffron, my lord. Carmina smiled. A saffron cloth left by the culprit. You were tracking its origin. I, Lucien nodded. A man named Capra, I've been told. But how did you get inside the storehouse? How does the salmon know to swim back home? Lucien frowned. This Capra, so he's called, likely works for a group called the House of the Great Mother, or Great House. Have you heard of them? No, Carmina admitted. Prey of the Inquisition, I take it. Yes, as I understand it, they had a hand in the prince's murder, and plan on doing the same for Prince Edmund. That or the real murderer wants to pin the blame on them. And if so, we haven't a clue who. What makes you say that? I have my ways. Is that so? She took a step towards him. Mind telling me? Lucien shook his head. Point is, that cloth had a symbol on it, an arrowhead piercing a circle. The same symbol on Capra's clothes. Carmina gave him a puzzled look. What? You... Is that so? It is. Sighing, Lucien reached behind his dresser and pulled out the cloth decorated with a sunset sunburst. The prince said he found it in his chamber, pair to the one in his late brother's. Carmina took the cloth and examined it. Then I bear you ill news. And that is, first, a deal. She let the cloth fall to the table. I tell you, and you'll find me in 3 days' time at the Dyer's Way market. Yes, Lucien breathed. Now tell me. Carmina's lips briefly met his, before reaching his ear. I have seen that exact cloth before, for my friend was the one to find it in the late prince's chambers. What? Lucien pushed her away, only to wince. But Edmund said he found it in his. Your Edmund lied. Carmina pulled the cloth from the table. With a pattern like this, no two dyes are the same, and on my spirit, this is the one I was shown. There never was a second cloth, and surely not one exactly like this. But why would Edmund lie to me? Even as he spoke, Lucien's mind raced to the answer he knew all too well. That is for you to decide. Carmina handed Lucien the sunburst-shaded silk, and do with as you will. Remember, the 3rd day at the Dyer's Way market. There tell to me your thoughts, and I will give you what I know of mine. Then she was gone, leaving a darkened mind as a toothy spiral consumed Lucien's thoughts, even less sure of himself than when the day began. Edmund lied. Lucien returned to his seat. That much is obvious. Why, though? For care. That he fears for his life, and thought elsewise I would not have come. And if he does not fear, then it was still for my company and service. Unless he did not fear because he knew better. But then, that would only mean he did it, or knew and made no effort to stop it. But then why show me the cloth at all? Lucien grasped his stolen amulet as the thoughts returned. It might not be that at all. A red cow to disrupt my search. In that case, I really am stumbling around in the dark, while the real killer plots in the shadows. There Lucien sat, wandering, until a knock pulled him from the sea once more. Message for you, my lord. This time it was a rook, dressed in black with a shining bronze medallion, from Castle Ravencroft. Brother Preston? Lucien took the transcribed echo in his hands. Aye. The rook's jowl shook as he spoke. That is what the raptor said when given its word. When he had left, Lucien returned to his seat and slowly unrolled the dry parchment, heart pounding. My lord Lucien, it began, Brother Preston sends many and fair regards to his lord. Great pleasure was mine listening to your echo upon its arrival yesterday, and I hope that listening to mine, even in recitation, pleasures you equally." Lucien gulped. Although puffy as his eyes, the old rook's words betrayed him, cunning and minded towards conspiracy. "Read carefully," it said, in case of watchful ears. "Since leaving, your sibling has accepted you and your father's role readily, though I fear they rely as always on the advice of their familiar over our fortuna. Even so, progress has been swift. In barely a quarter moon they had Erdonia's petty clans assert their fealty, and in 3 has dominated bandits plaguing the northern forests. Surprise pushes me to say how quickly they have proved themselves your father's progeny, if one believes a throne's art passes so. Now they turn their gaze towards the White Hills, suspecting great fortunes or answers to lie in their depths. As for our common care, I know not. The day after your depart another returned, leaving with our care the next. But that they have not yet arrived in fair Calais, that is most curious. Your faithful servant." Lucien stared at the words, as if will alone would make the news better. He could ask for the raptor itself, but the echo would be the same. Canta ruling Erdonia. Canta! And ruling as their father had, only even more so, forcing Erdonia's magistrates to swear fealty to her personally, dominating bandit clans. The thought made him sick. But, beneath that, there was yet another uncertainty for the day, one which made Lucien feel the ground was about to open up and swallow him whole. If Canta rules Erdonia, then where is Irol?